You booked a holiday months ago and it starts tomorrow. Yet tonight, the night before, you feel sick, not excited but anxious. You've checked your email twice since dinner, despite promising yourself to log on only once a day for important messages. You know you're not being truthful about that. Here's the spoken truth. A part of you resists going. When the work pauses, a question emerges. The one you've been avoiding for years. Who am I outside of this? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, I will give you one single sentence. The way your body reacts to hearing it will reveal in about 3 seconds whether this pattern is controlling your business. Watch closely. I'm Andrea, a clinical therapist. I've spent 25 years in a room with high-performing women, and what you're feeling has a name. First, dismiss your initial assumptions about this. It's not something that happens to women who love their work too much. Instead, it occurs to the most capable women in the room. Those so skilled at being useful that over time, usefulness ceased to be just an action and instead became the only validation of their worth. I call it the identity collapse. It is one of 9 patterns I see repeatedly among female founders. It is not your business to become part of your life. It is you becoming the business. The line between the two has disappeared. You recognize it by the signs, saying we in meetings when you're alone, taking criticism of your business as a personal attack, and not having taken a genuine break in years. The friends, hobbies, and the version of yourself before the company have quietly vanished. Beneath the surface, your nervous system has merged your identity with your business to such an extent that a threat to the business feels like a threat to your own survival. Pausing or stopping doesn't seem like rest. Instead, it feels like disappearing. This is why anxiety strikes immediately whenever you attempt to switch off. Last year, a founder I met, outwardly successful, but internally overwhelmed, anxious, and emotionally spent. Even minor triggers such as vacuuming her carpets or doing a food chop left her emotional. I asked her one simple question. If her business closed tomorrow, who would she be? A CEO? A wife? Or a mother? She opened her mouth to answer, but remained silent for almost 1 minute, thinking, reflecting, before quietly admitting she no longer knew who she was. She felt lost in the busyness of doing, juggling so many tasks that she no longer felt she mattered. She wasn't in crisis. She was managing a successful business that many would envy. Yet, beneath it all, she couldn't find herself. This is what we call the identity collapse. If you feel that in your chest, keep watching. Here is where I part ways with most of my industry. You've been told you have a work-life balance issue, needing boundaries, a digital detox, or a morning routine. Despite trying all of these, you set a boundary on Sunday, but broke it by Tuesday. Then blame yourself. You did not fail. The advice failed. Boundaries are stored in the prefrontal cortex, the thinking region of the brain. The fusion, however, is located lower within the survival system responsible for identifying danger. When you attempt to turn it off, the system perceives it as a threat and causes anxiety until you resume using the phone. You are not weak. Your regulation is designed to keep you going. A boundary tip meant for survival response is ineffective because it targets the wrong level of the issue. A coach offers you a routine, but only working with the nervous system can remove the underlying threat label. I observed the specific pattern change in just about 6 to 8 sessions, not years. I've seen it happen hundreds of times. This shows a responsive to work done on the floor where it exists. This was built. 3 things wired it. 1, your self-worth was linked to your accomplishments rather than your identity. You received approval when you succeeded and felt ignored when you rested. Your mindset adopted one single rule: I'm valuable only when I'm useful. 2, the business became the greatest proof of your worth you've ever created, surpassing grades, jobs, titles. It holds on a quiet hope that if it's impressive enough, you'll finally feel sufficient. Because of this, you can't let go. Letting go feels like abandoning the judgment on you. 3, the work serves as a shield. When you're occupied, you don't have to confront what's beneath: the grief, the emptiness, the marriage driven by logistics, or the question of your identity beyond the title. Being busy isn't solely about ambition, it's also a form of protection. This is not free. Here's the bill. You tend to make defensive decisions because feedback seems like an attack. You retain the wrong hire because letting them go feels like admitting a mistake about yourself. Delegating feels like giving away a part of yourself, so you hesitate. As a result, your revenue is limited to the hours you personally work. The business cannot expand beyond you because you're unwilling to let go of control. Also, the course of a year, the women I work lose about 12 to 50,000 pounds due to undercharging, delayed launches, exhausted decision making. Most are surprised when they calculate the total. Now, here's a prediction this week. Someone will challenge an aspect of your business, perhaps a client, a comment, or a number. For about 90 seconds, you'll feel like your value is under scrutiny. This isn't sensitivity. It's the fusion firing. When you observe it, recognize it, that awareness is the first crack of light. The cost that never appears on the spreadsheet is the bigger one. The friends who stop calling, the partner you only talk logistics with, the person you used to be on the other side of the wall, your nervous system built to keep you safe. Now, here is something you can do this week. This is real and it works. The first step in a clinical practice I call the separate self. Now, there's 2 parts to it. Part 1, language. For about 7 days, catch every time you say we about the business when you mean I. We are launching, we decided. There's no we, there's you. Each time, correct it loud. I am launching. It feels strange. Stay with the strange. The pronoun is where the fusion lives. Change the word and you loosen the fusion in the body, not only the mind. Part 2. One small act of reclaiming every day, not reinvention. Something tiny that is yours and has nothing to do with work. A text to a friend you've gone quiet with. 15 minutes of something you used to love. A walk without a business podcast. Small enough to actually happen. Observe what surfaces as activity diminishes. When things slow down, the underlying emotion emerges. Acknowledge it by writing a single line. Remember, this feeling isn't a setback. It's what the busyness concealed. Each time you do this, you'll reinforce to your nervous system that you continue to exist even when the work pauses. This small act captures the essence of rewiring. Now, I promised you one sentence. Here it is. Say it loud right now and watch your body. If the business ended tomorrow, I would still be someone. Observe what occurred. If it felt simple and genuine, then this pattern isn't part of you, which is positive. However, if your chest constricted, if you reacted with discomfort, or if you felt like debating when you have your answer, that little reaction is the fusion, and that fusion can be reprogrammed. Here's what 25 years of experience has shown me. You never operate with just one pattern. The identity collapse is concealed behind the overdoer, the money ghost that manifests through the imposter. Usually, the most costly pattern is the one you fail to recognize on your own. That's why I built the free clinical scorecard. 9 patterns, 3 minutes, your first tool the same day. It identifies the stack you are actually running. The link is at the top of the description. Take it before you do anything else and then subscribe. Not for the content. Over the next coming weeks, I'm taking apart all 9 patterns one at a time, as I did with this one. Watch enough of them, and you will see your whole operating system laid out. The pattern you cannot name today will be recognized in 3 weeks, and that's worth staying for. If this names something you felt for years but never had the words for, that is your nervous system recognizing itself. Now, I'm Andrea, and same time next week, go and take the scorecard. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.